Okay, we'll open up the sewer commissioners meeting, 4:30, Elaine, I.
Phil Watson, I.
Brian, no,
Okay, we've got could just segue right into the leaching fields with any updates from anybody on that?
I just sent an email out to folks thinking about this on status. I know that York Break was up there to start getting it. Dave, you know, if they actually got the hydro seeding started or raking anything.
I didn't go into the field today, but I saw an email later on that I think they're expecting it maybe Thursday or Friday this week.
This weather would be perfect, except it's not raining. So I'm almost glad that it didn't get put down because we're going to irrigate it. Okay, so that was one thing. So, but we're at the essentially complete stage, you know, where there were only things that were left to put the cap on the distribution box, the main one. I think the wells are under control. There's that one that still have to be left. You were able to purge them, I guess, with the.
2 out of the 3.
Yeah.
I didn't go back for the 3rd one yet. We've been tied up with.
Yeah, they
Other
didn't
stuff.
have a big enough pump. They weren't doing it with the drilling, which they should have. They have plenty of water in the ground. That's how you do it, you know? But we get that fixed. So I think we'll be, you know, within the next week or two, we'll be pumping water in there somewhere.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit delayed, but the nature of the drought we're having, you know, semi-drought, it's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't become -20 the next month.
Doesn't look that
Doesn't
way.
look that way. So that's all good. I also, I made copies of this. This is what I concerned after what we talked last time about the Link Way property.
Yes.
Out in the north. So this is off this, all right, the access with GIS, so this is really accurate. And I was we're looking at these other plans, there was so much going on here at that scale, it didn't work, but here's the truth. So 100.6 is the lot of the butters that we're talking about.
Okay, then.
I thought their line, as I said last time, ended at that chain link fence. That's where our easement starts, and it is a property line of 100-6. They also have this one, 100-7, which encompasses, you see how it's only 24 feet wide on one end and like 20, it's like 22 feet wide on one end. And I don't know what this 29 is. It's like 20 feet in front. It's very narrow.
Okay,
But all our easements are somehow in that zone. So there's gas, 2 sewer, 1 electric, and 1 water, all in that zone. And I put on here where the new tie-in, you can see I just put the new tie-in is right about in the middle. Then 107 is ours, the one we bought.
okay,
So there's a little overlap between, but you know, their land is our land, basically.
Yeah.
So the idea, going back to what Dave's been dealing with, is that strip, it's not 50 feet. I was thinking like, you know, they want to grass 50 or 60 feet, go ahead. They can if they want to, I guess. But understand that you still nothing crosses our easement. It is their land, a little bit of it. I mean, 20 feet from me to the wall.
yeah,
You know, not even, it's not big. So just to clarify that, so this, you know,
so is there irrigation system in this section?
the irrigation system before went across the easement and
Yeah.
into this property, out on our property.
Into the
Into
107?
the
And that's all that
highlighted-
ripped up, that's
Into the
all.
highlighted area.
Yeah, it was in that highlighted area is their property, but it's not gonna be in there. What we're saying to them is that the lot line between 106 and 107, that's the easement boundary.
Okay,
So we had said last week in the discussion, don't put anything beyond that, and it's still the same. They're not changing that. Even though they own the land, because we have to get in there. If something happens, whether it's gas, electric, water,
yeah,
they're gonna dig it up.
yeah, we want, yeah,
So the idea is, you know, put your 2 or 3 irrigation heads, spray to the extent you want to have grass. It's not bothering us at all. Just know we're gonna have to go in there.
yeah,
As I said, it's the likelihood of us going there is sooner than later. The problems happen early, and when things start to settle and all that, that's when the breaks happen.
okay,
5 years from now, nothing's gonna happen. But just, okay, just to clarify that, 'cause I didn't wanna.
If I can just point to that, for my clarity. Is this the turtle fence line?
That's the chain link fence, yeah. that
Okay.
chain link fence should be right there, and all the easements in here, so this is what we dug
Okay.
up. We actually dug up like this,
All right,
and your, air relief valve should be in this little corner here. See how this goes across, that was, the easement actually took land onto the T.
yeah, you can see that,
Yeah,
that car
yeah.
path
Yeah.
down there, yeah.
Kind of goes across,
Was that the emergency?
that's right, yeah, that's exactly where the
Yeah.
emergency is too, that's all the same place. But this is the T land, this is all it is. And you can look at this on this.
So, you know what's interesting, right, is if I look at that chain link fence right now, it seems like the alignment's off. It almost seems like when we go into our air relief valves, they're right around where that 24 is.
Yeah, that should be okay, yeah.
And to me, the fence is on this side of it.
Maybe, out here, it looks like it's straight. And then it maybe does curve back in. Does it curve back in?
It has to, because we can walk from her backyard right to.
So right here, it's on the, yeah, you make it right. So they curved it back in like that. Yeah, so but that's even better. I mean, the air relief valves, like I said, are right here somewhere.
Mhm.
Okay?
And Grady's still moving forward with doing this, right? Surveying this.
Yeah, we haven't put a stop to them, so.
Okay, good.
But
That way, everybody will,
just so it's important that everyone's on the same page.
Yeah,
And I'll
exactly.
give you another copy of this if you want to give it.
good to know.
It's just one of those
Yeah, we'll have a meeting up
personality
there
things.
next Tuesday anyway, so I don't know if I can hear that.
Well, not really, so,
You
Yeah.
know, I'll scan this and email them too.
Okay, 48 Evergreen.
Oh, can we,
What do you
while
want?
we're on the leaching fields,
Sure, go ahead.
the asphalt work around the manholes up there.
Yes.
I just heard from them later in the afternoon. I don't know if you saw that email or not,
Yeah.
but looks like they're trying to get to that next week. So hopefully that's the case.
Very good.
So they have a November 1st deadline, which that would meet the deadline. So I told the highway department I'd keep them posted, see how it's progressing.
Any other updates you'd like to share?
Uh, Conifer Green, that's all. I sent them the letter, so I let you know about that. Mass Maritime, is looking to come do a tour, some of their classes.
Oh, nice.
So you
Really?
want to get the okay with the board that they can come visit us?
I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, because they have their own plant down there.
So one of Carl's kids, all his kids are at Mass Maritime at college age kids. And one of them is looking as part of his class to bring his class over.
Very good. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
All brand new and state of the art. It's
Yeah.
Perfect.
absolutely.
Nothing's falling apart. Yeah.
So it's good news. I know Brian's been pushing for bringing the community in,
Yeah.
and letting them see what it's all about, hopefully getting them interested in careers in the field, so.
I did reach out to the selectmen about that. And we'll see that tonight. On the same thing, this is, I didn't know this happening. I work closely with one of the professors there. Doing other stuff, but I'll make sure he knows I'm seeing him tomorrow.
Perfect timing.
But on the thing we talked about the kids, I reached out to New England, they say water pollution control, who I used to be the Massachusetts representative to, and then I was signing the EPA for them. And they're very interested in joining us. They have money. They run a program up in the North Shore at Essex Tech.
Oh,
Same thing, they got about 50 kids in the program on a yearly basis, grade 1, 2, 3, 4. Because they have some kids in high school that are looking at grade 4, come right out of high school to get into like the field site work,
wow.
O&M, the kind of stuff, you get in the manhole, you do this, this is a pump, this is a pump, this is a valve, this is all that good stuff. So I have to set up a meeting with Silver Lake Regional High School, Mark's invitation to that. Set up a Zoom meeting, which they'll set up, and I'll keep you informed.
Good.
There's a lot of I was impressed, I was like, whoa, they want to do this,
Yeah, that's great.
and they wanted something in the South Shore. the fact that they were
Oh,
on this, you know.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You need some
This would be
sense, for it,
perfect.
especially with everything coming on the Cape.
Yeah, and right off
There's a
the
lot of
highway.
opportunities for Cape Cod growth too, that they'll
Yeah.
need people.
Yeah.
So,
So that's that, then I just have to connect the civil like team, whoever those people, I don't know them, but, as soon as we get that, I'll let you know.
Very good.
or if we're also with the leaching field at 48 Evergreen,
Yes.
I just wanted to make you guys aware of this project that came through. It seems like more of a notification that they want to, if you're familiar with 48 Evergreen, it's, if you leave the property, take a left, it's a long driveway that heads down the back.
Yes, they've been before us a few times.
They're not on they're on septic,
Right,
which is, I don't know how.
yeah, I remember them.
Where is it?
Way back off the road.
Yeah, you come out of
Oh,
the
yeah,
parking lot,
okay.
take a left,
Yeah, down by,
and then almost before Chris Baracus.
before Chris Baracus, it was
Yeah.
a long driveway.
Yeah, and it goes
All the way up back to the
almost
bottom.
back to the train. And they're looking at upgrading their existing septic system. So I just want to at least call it to everyone's attention that they're looking to upgrade their septic system. They are on Evergreen, but it's way in the back, so I imagine as part of the original system and who ties in and who doesn't, it maybe didn't apply to houses way in the back. I don't know.
I don't
Yeah.
remember the history, but I do remember the long run.
So they're looking to change that to a 7-bedroom adult emergency respite program funded by the Mass Department of Mental Health. So it's an adult behavioral services is what they're doing for usage on it. And they're just looking to upgrade the septic system, but I just want to at least call to everyone's attention that they are on Evergreen Street and they're on septic system.
I mean, again, this is a project that will go through with or without sewer. And when this was being sold before, I believe they were in front of us.
Okay.
And I'd open it up for a conversation. I mean,
So,
there's already a building there. It already exists.
yeah, and it has to be an existing septic system. 'Cause they're
Right.
looking at basically taking that leaching field, expanding on it and putting in, I think, a bigger septic tank.
Well, I mean, I don't know what might have happened back then in terms of them not getting, we would have put, everybody else here was really looking for pumps, E1 pumps, all the way up, right next to the town hall here. And we put one in here, they were all E1 pumps. And the only people that got off not doing it is they either put in a new septic system at the time, that was an option.
Yeah.
And they would hook up when the time came, but we had capacity, because we had the rush on all that back then. So, again, I approached all these with, does it meet the environmental standard we were trying to set? There's all kinds of wetlands, but there's a stream is down here. There's,
Yeah, that's the locust pond on it, that it floods the
This is-
tracks.
when we,
That's Evergreen.
so where's, this is the center of town? Yeah, that's Bottle Street then? Yeah, okay. That's way better.
Yeah.
There's a lot, there's all
That's
this.
probably the wetland. There's a little.
So there's a
squiggly
brook that
line
comes
here.
off this side and over here, and there's a huge wetland right here, that's it. A huge wetland right there, all it goes to Stony Brook, it's all part of Stony Brook, right there. So, I mean, I think it's something to look at more carefully.
Right.
And the option is to hook up, it just saves them a bunch of problems. I'd like to know the history of the septic system, is it fairly for, has it been, what's been maintained? Those are the kind of criteria we had always.
Okay,
Maintained, and we had problems, if this was done back in 2000, because it was a hardship, something on that line. They were given a break, temporary break.
yeah, waiver for a
So
while.
I don't think it's quick, just let it go,
Okay,
just to be sure.
that makes sense.
And then they talk to the Board of Health, I mean, again, it gets into the Board of Health. Us working together with them on how we tried to do it before. So,
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't know what the septic system upgrades would cost them, but if they understood. I mean, going to a bigger tank and a bigger than on an existing field. Probably not the biggest thing, it's not a whole rebuild, but I mean, you're talking tens of thousands of dollars. So it might be if you do this, you have no worries about ever failing, you have. This is some kind of a halfway house, you said, or some kind of,
Yeah,
some other,
yeah, the way they worded it, I'm gonna read it again.
Mental health, behavioral.
7-bedroom adult emergency respite program funded by the Mass Department of Mental Health.
yeah, and that's the kind of group that would pay for this without a heartbeat. They would upgrade that to a sewer, they would do that. Just because it's the right thing to do.
yeah,
It's not like it's somebody, it's not a homeowner necessarily doing this. So I would, put a little flag on that one and say. It's a big set that, 7 bedrooms, 8 bedrooms, something like
7, yeah.
that.
So they're looking at going from an existing, I imagine 1,500 gallon tank to a 3,500 gallon tank. And nearly doubling the size of their leaching field.
Yeah, and I guess there's no design standards on that plan. Right? I didn't see any calculations. So, again, the technical side is kicking in here. That's all clay down there.
is it?
So it's all clay, it's low, that's why it's wetland. It's all on that black water swamp. The whole thing down there, once you get to the track, even here, I mean, this whole part, the reason the pond is there's a clay layer here.
Oh, okay,
This is like that part of the glacier, and then the other side is all sand. So, I don't, if there was design, test bits to show that they could actually expand it to the history of this, I think you might find that there's a problem. They may be pumping it out every year.
yeah,
That just make that an option, I guess, at the very least. If you have this opportunity, it's probably an E1 pump. Take it from there.
So you like me to write to Board of Health? You want me to just get some more information?
Yeah, let's just,
Because
yeah,
they have a public meeting scheduled for December 2nd, and they'd like their comments back to the planning department by November 18th.
all right. So let's,
So I'll get some information on the age of the existing system.
yeah, just to talk about, question, just the option they took out, is exactly what we're talking, every single person on the streets that we've done. It's in a place that, let's
Yeah,
talk about,
it's out
let's
front.
do the history of the system.
Get some info for next meeting.
They'd be paying the state would be paying the user fees. So they'd be paying that, but it's part of their business model.
yeah,
If they have to explain that failed. For whatever reason, you put 7 people in there, you have a bunch of other people, you have medical staff helping, it's not just a 7-bedroom thing, you got other people living there and working there 24/7. It's hard to calculate how to do it, and I don't see any calculations on anything there, no
No.
test bits, nothing. But we don't know what they don't know what they're.
yeah,
That's,
Fine.
And the cut sheets that you sent. um, See, all the pumps.
Oh, yeah. It's been a crazy week. I finally got all the pricing for the pumps, for getting spare pumps based on the upgrade of the systems. So I sent all the cut sheets and price sheets and everything to CDM on, was it yesterday we did it? Yeah, Monday. So
Good.
hopefully we'll get some word on that. We're still waiting to hear to whether they're gonna extend that contract deadline so that they can get the documentation, all the as-built and everything else to us. So we'll see where that goes, but you haven't heard anything back yet.
no,
so I'm having a phone call with Tom Casey with Clean Water Trust tomorrow at 10:30.
Okay,
And we are getting greenish lights that this is gonna be done, it's gonna be extended. I'll say yellowish, not greenish. But it's looking right, going the right direction.
okay,
So we're gonna have a conversation tomorrow at 10:30.
good.
I'll get back to you as soon as I give some.
Awesome.
That's very good.
Yeah, hopefully they'll extend that out, because,
Yeah.
you know, to hold someone's hand to the fire as far as having the as-built and paperwork and all the T's crossed and I's dotted, you know, you kind of lose some of that control once everything's closed out.
And you realize by having it done first time correctly, for most of it, makes your life so much easier. Between the
Absolutely.
tie-ins and all the other things, it's just,
Mhm.
Okay, and since last meeting, we received a memo from Keith. They're putting together a working group to talk about, the feasibility of a Department of Public Works, and they're looking for a sewer commissioner. Anybody interested?
well, I did my head up.
Okay, very good.
I'll second that.
Yeah, you should vote
Bill,
on that.
Bill votes for Brian.
Yeah.
Make a motion to appoint Brian to the, Department of Public Works Working Group.
Our representative.
Yes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
If you need anything, I can always available.
And,
The accountant, sent an email today about the reimbursements. So I sent an email to Tom and Lauren to just find out if they heard anything. to get
Okay.
back.
now those, there was like three, right?
Yeah,
Those
the
reimbursements.
1,000,009, the 159.
How, would you know when they were submitted? Like within the past week or two, or,
No, within like probably the last 30 days.
Okay.
30,
okay,
35 days.
because,
I have to look at my bill schedule.
because the September ones have been paid. This appears to be the October, end of September, maybe
Right.
beginning of October. Okay,
Yeah, I think we had a discussion early on that it was slow coming, but once the first one came about, then it would follow a regular pattern. So
Yeah.
Probably just that normal delay in the system.
okay. And, anybody have anything else before we go on to our last item?
Okay,
Okay, so tonight we're meeting at 7:45 with approximately with the selectmen for a joint meeting. And Brian, you want to just give the intent of the meeting?
yeah, the idea, as you recall, we were trying to set up a more kind of a working group with the selectmen and us, more just us. And I know Keith was trying to set that up last week. We tried to look at the holiday and people could do it then last Thursday, people couldn't do it. So we're in the agenda for tonight. So my approach is to present basically a list of a little bit of history. And you know, we're working very intently on doing two things. One is getting the rates and fees done, which we've done. We'll work with town accountant. We have that pretty much done. We have a final hearing coming up. And the second is the capital costs. As we get into the capital costs, the issues of where is the capital cost payments coming from became a significant issue. And I'm going to get into the history of town paying 1/3. And I want to try to approach this with the idea of this is for us to have a working group again going on. We're not going to solve the problems tonight. We're going to have a discussion, put all the things that are on it, need to be on the table that relate to capital costs for the facility. All of which are meant to get this plant done as it was originally planned, with 700,000 gallons a day going into the ground treated wastewater. That's the goal. It always has been, hasn't changed, and here we are. What has changed is some perceptions about where the capital cost money comes from, and who's doing what and why. And I want to throw out that, you know, the 1/3, 2/3, it said the fact is the town's been paying it right up to this year. And nothing's changed. So for 24 or 5 years, that's been going on. So I won't say knucklehead, but when knucklehead shows up, and I go, I always thought this was gonna be, you know,
Right.
now we have, at worst case, about a $10 million deficit that our customers are gonna pick up in some fashion if we don't resolve it in some way. That's the crux of that.
And this, the some way can be additional customers. Yeah, or, you know, like you said, if there's any desire for 1/3, 2/3 again.
And let's see how the discussion goes with
Yeah.
the members of the selectmen, I think, I think that, they'll understand this and understand the goal as well as the financial issues. But it's not gonna get resolved tonight, but it needs to have a committee. And then the next point I wanna come up with is, my suggestion is a working group. Call it a sewage advisory committee, call it a capital planning committee for the sewer, whatever. The idea is to have a working group that would have one representative from sewer, one representative from selectmen as a starting point. I think the Board of Health has to be in place. I think the planning board should be on this in some fashion. The reason is the planning board is part of a lot of what we do is based on the planning and zoning of the town. And when 40Bs come up, I want them to understand that's a piece. It's out there. And our need for revenue is going to be driven by the quickness in which we identify where the revenue is coming from. We don't have 10 years to wait.
Right,
So the working group is going to be something we do in the next 2 or 3 months. Maybe have a report and a decision making in January before town meeting. Because, again, thinking out loud, I look at this, I always try to put things in context. And so we're going on in Merriway, finance committees for 25 years, selectmen for 25 years, accountants, treasurers, sewer commission for 25 years, never questioned the 1/3, 2/3. Okay, this is how I look at it. And all of a sudden, when the new tanks come in, somehow there's a whole bunch of new people. And it's not discussed.
right,
It's never brought up. Because
Right.
in my mind, I remember looking at the language, I said this before, the language of each of these is the same. So in my mind, it's the same, and the resulting 1/3 was always gonna go on. So if I could think that way, I know there's 2,000 customers over there, and there were 2,000 people at that 2019 meeting. There was maybe 150.
Yeah.
So let's take all 150, there's 1,900 minus 150 people over there, the Dina and the Lambda Route 3, that didn't have a say one way or the other. So, being transparent, I want to make sure it's on the table that if this doesn't get resolved, they're gonna have to pick up something that we have said from day one. Once you pay your betterment, once you're in the team, no more. With the
Yeah.
exception of leaching field potentially, but that's a different. The tanks itself, the upgrades, all that cost, nothing changed from 1999.
and that's where your history comes into play. Because I wasn't here from day one like you were, and at the town meeting, in public meetings and hearings, it was those who wanted the capacity would pay for it. And that was all lined up. That was all lined up until everything shifted with the town's approach to growth. And then you came on board and your belief is it should be still 1/3, 2/3. So let's have the conversation.
How are we gonna deal with that? Right now, $10 million. I want to make sure that I give a shout out to Kathleen Bedard, Bedard. Barrett, I'm sorry, Barrett. I mean, since she's been on board, she's helped, I think, quickly from Ron, helping to find some of the things we've been looking for. Gene, I know what you guys are looking for, we've been looking for, trying to figure out the accounting, and there's been some misplaced things, let's call it that. And we're starting to find money that was put somewhere, but I couldn't find it. Nobody could find it.
And that's to your point, that's the good part, because she has stated that, she was trying to follow the trail as well.
Yeah.
And we've been trying to follow it for a year. And it's refreshing to have another set of eyes looking at it.
So it is what it is. So I think hopefully this is a very positive meeting. I hope it is. It's intended to be. It could be a little difficult for some people maybe, but because it involves money. But I think the fair discussion we'll have after this will come up with one plan. I mean, Keith has mentioned a couple of things about short-term dealing with the town's amount of money and this gets back to the planning. The town buys some of the capacity for some future town project. And that might be a shortfall paying the indebtedness we have for part of it for the next 4 or 5 years. So those are the kind of ideas, the creative ones that might help us get to yes.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think the commission should be, we're at the end, we're not gonna have any more of that thing. But again, the other part of the discussion we're not gonna get into is this sacrosanct is us from this day on, from this period on, we gotta start putting money in the bank, significant amount of money, not jeopardizing our ability of this guy and his team to have to beg for something 3 years from now or 5 years from now. There should be enough money, because we're an enterprise account, to be able to dip into that as necessary. That's the way it's supposed to work. That's how the enterprise account works. That's why DEP wants it to be an enterprise account. That's why DEP wants to make sure the money's there just for that purpose. Because if the plant goes down, we're looking at $25,000 a day fines. It goes on and on. I'm not gonna do that. And we have terrible water quality. We're completely wrong with it. We don't want to be there. There's too much in my head. That's the problem.
No, it's not a problem. You're bringing a lot to the table that I wasn't aware of, so,
So let's have a good meeting.
okay.
And I guess the last one is just that there have been a lot of concerns about our meeting and what we said about that 40B. So it's on the record, I think. I had the chance to hear myself today, which was scary. What was it first? So, and everything I said was true. Everything I said exactly, I meant it to be, and it's just, again, the context. Okay, so if it wasn't clear, that 40B project is gonna have a septic sewage treatment plant as is proposed. And the only thing we were saying is if other people looking at this, seeing it's gonna get built, because it has a sewage treatment plant, we have an option potentially of solving part of the problem we just talked about with the sewer.
Right.
We have a potential way to solve part of that, if everybody's on board that it is gonna be there. And I said, "Look, if you wanna have a sewage treatment plant in your backyard, that's your choice. But we have capacity, and we have people who know how to run the treatment plant
Right,
24/7. That's part of the choice. We're not saying hook up.
right. It's, again, it's have a conversation.
If it's gonna be built anyway, and they're gonna have their on-site septic system, why not tie into the system? So now we have more users in contributing to the expense that the town is looking at. So it's,
In the
we don't
environment.
decide if a project comes in. We just say, hey, there's sewer capacity at the plant. If your project goes through, we'd like to have your wastewater.
You talk to us then, yeah. But again, in this particular case, we were very clear saying that we made a decision, it's like our policy, we're not looking for creating 40Bs. It's not, we shut down 2 of them, actually. At town meeting, the only reason this came back the way it is, they cut out one building and replaced it with a sewage treatment plant.
Yep.
Okay.
And to another point to your discussion about the wastewater in town, having the available capacity now at the plant, there's been discussion about the new owners at the mall doing other development up there. Some of these developments wouldn't be able to take place to bring down the tax rate in town unless there was a wastewater treatment plant. So it doesn't just benefit the users, it benefits the whole tax base in town having a wastewater plant. So there's multiple benefits other than the
Yeah,
direct.
that's a good point, because I was gonna add to the potential team would be finance committee member.
Yeah.
Somebody from finance committee, and Keith will be involved in some fashion. He's looking for tax revenue, because they're looking at town, yeah, what do we do? There's a potential override coming.
Right.
Usually there's an override, we don't have enough tax money coming in to pay the bills.
Right.
So,
Which, if you look at it, we're all in the same situation.
Right.
So, we had a plan, and I'm sure the town had a plan, and it materialized, so. But we'll talk, and just another statement, the email from CDM. Brian, I think you could speak to it about of the plant expansion, about 30% of it.
right, yeah, I asked CDM to give me a breakdown of what went into the 2 tanks in terms of spreading out just in gross numbers. The amount that was upgrades that would have been basically a plant-wide, user-wide, ticket, I think, it was paid for. It wouldn't be in a betterment necessarily, it would be in an increased rate of some kind, it would be spread over time. And the only reason we would have had to do it that way is if we didn't have the loan to build it the way we did.
Right.
Okay, but if we didn't do any of this, we still had upgraded the plant, we still had $5 or $6 million to spend on a fairly quick, you can't do it piecemeal. You gotta, a SCADA system is like the whole thing. You don't just do the panel and then forget everything else, you gotta do the whole thing. So it's, there's those kind of details that are, this working group hopefully will get to understand.
Well, that's it. The plan expansion, give or take, is like after all the $4.5 million worth of grants, the loan amount's like 15 million. So if a third of that needed to happen, whether or not we expanded the plant, to your point, it's $5 or $6 million that would have been directly to the current users.
30% upgrades
Right.
on pre-existing equipment.
For a 25-year-old plan.
So to give you an idea, just on the roof alone, it was the original roof, pushing now, it would have been 24 years old.
Right.
All the HVAC units on the roof that were questionable got replaced. We got new blowers, new effluent pumps, new intermediate pumps, all new aeration manifolds, which only, from what I understand, have like a 10 to 15-year lifespan. They've been in there 20 years.
Yeah.
They were on the end of their shelf life. And if we only had one tank and any of those aeration manifolds went down, we would have been doing all our process control, filling and decanting off of one tank. Never would have made permit.
Yeah.
And as it was, just getting those aeration manifolds in was probably a 6 to 9 month period from tearing them out, ordering them, getting them in, so.
And the key part being ordering them, because I remember there was a delay on them
Yep.
too. So we had the bin one
COVID.
tank.
COVID times,
Right.
right? So that just, yeah, it was. Luckily, we have everything in place and we didn't run into an issue like this while we were on 2 tanks.
Right.
And we even had a day, that I recall Carl and I were there. We had a rain event that we got in over 600,000 gallons of flow in one day. And the 2 tanks were actually both full and ready to overflow. And we got in there and actually opened up a 3rd empty tank, started filling that up while we were raining. We would have had stuff running down the street. So it's actually been a blessing for the town. As much as it's a financial quagmire right now, paying for everything, it's really setting the town up nice going forward.
Yeah.
Without being directly involved in the envelope of what goes on there, you don't understand that. But it's huge setting the town going forward.
These tours are so important. I mean, I really think that, it's just, you don't, it's like anything in life, I'm, to this day, I love doing new things. I'm still fascinated by walking into something, I have no clue what it is. Whoa, this is really neat. Like, try to give me an example. Have you ever been to a paper,
Paper mill,
company? Paper mill, making paper?
No.
unbelievable.
I mean, I have several clients at the paper mills that I do their wetland, not wetland, there's wastewater permits, we run their wastewater plants, so we help them upgrade and that kind of thing. But the first time I went in, maybe 25 years ago, up in, these people make all the specialty paper, wrapping paper from Walmart. In the entire world, in this one plant, Irving paper,
Man,
no, Massachusetts.
oh,
Very
Western Mass,
Massachusetts,
yeah,
I just-
Route 2.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do. On the Otis River.
Mhm.
And so you get, you get into the stuff, and they take pallets. First of all, they heat the water with firewood from pallets from all over the place. And they have these giant trucks that heat the water, and they constantly heat it because it goes 24/7 till they shut down for another kind of batch of whatever they're making. These are silver coated, really fancy wrapping paper.
Hmm.
So the base paper though, these giant vats, and they take pulp wood that comes down by the truckloads, and they grind it up. They put in these giant vats, which heated just to the right temperature, they're warm to almost hot. Comes out of this, the roll, there's 4 or 5 of them, the rolls are like 30 feet long. Okay? And the water, the mush comes out on some kind of they just start it, once you start the roll, all these little fibers, have to be exactly the right length, come out and congeal, you can see them going like this. And the thing is going on, I'm not kidding you, it's gotta be going 100 miles an hour. This, and it goes in, and it's squishing the water, it makes it into paper, there's a dryer there, it's going into the roller, already dry. And the roll is as thick as this one. And they do one in about an hour out of the story, and then you have to see this to believe it.
Wow.
They are unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
So when I was in business with my brothers, 52% of our business was in Maine.
Every time, yeah, that's
And
right.
we went to just about every paper mill through Maine. Each one specializes in a different product. It's almost like a non-compete, you know? I won't make wrapping paper if you don't make, you make tissues or, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
And each plant had its specialty, like Brian said, it'd be a roll. You know, look at a toilet paper roll, but this would be just paper. And it was like a toilet paper roll, but as tall as this room. And they would just bring in the train cars, would just pull in and they'd just put them right on train cars, one after
Really?
another. Then they'd go somewhere else and get processed and turned into your hammer mill paper that you put in a copy
Yeah.
machine.
Actually, this company, they actually made the base paper that went to Dalton, Mass. That all the money is there.
oh, yeah,
So the base, they were part of this process, which is very, this was like top secret. One of the reasons I mean, because I had a Q clearance, like, let me look at it. But, they have all this secrecy about how they make the paper, the impediments in it, so you can't counterfeit it. This is just the green paper they hadn't printed, and then it goes to Dalton. They would put all these stuff on it except for the A, B, C, wherever the Federal Reserve Bank did.
okay.
Actually processed it. But that's another thing that these guys did. And when they did that, they had like armed guards around the plant, like machine guns, the whole bit.
You didn't take any scraps home.
No.
Oh.
Anyways,
He writes his IOUs all the
We'll use some of those pieces of paper right now.
that's my little operation.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to go to recess, and then reconvene at 7:30 at the selectmen's meeting.
A second,
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good.